Is your Minecraft server creative mode?
Kinda.
Hi, hello there.
Why, is that some Hi-Rez Barton live at LordKaT.com?
That's right, I am.
Hey,
How's it going?
what's going on, man? How you doing?
Fantastic, man. Just finishing up the workday today. Actually had an ice cream truck come by
That
for a little
sounds
bit
like
of employee outreach, I think. So,
you guys hiring? I'd love to be in on work where you eat ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream and T-shirts is what we did today. Yeah,
Ice creams and T-shirts, huh? That's
I don't think I could pallet the T-shirts, but
that's an interesting business model. So do I have to buy gold to get the T-shirts, or how does that work?
I need XP.
glitchapparel.com. You can go pick up some Tribes Ascend T-shirts there.
Oh, Glitch Apparel's already got it. All right, all right.
Yeah, that's right.
No doubt. Oh, man, so how you doing?
Very well, very well. What's up, guys? Yeah, I have a little bit more voice and timbre and expositoriness to my voice today.
I was gonna say or background noise, like echoing off a mini wall. Are you in a bathroom?
No, I'm actually. Oh, hold on. I bet you I know what the deal is here. I have. No, I'm sitting in an office, and I bet you that my headset is picking up the same thing as my snowball and is causing issues. So let me resolve that. No, just coming through the snowball. So you're getting crazy echo on it. Let me see if I.
No,
can...
it's not.
No,
It's not
like...
crazy echo. He's just talking about the acoustics. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It has that bathroom acoustic noise.
I can open the door. I actually I have an office, and I'm sitting in the office, and it's.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh.
It's absolutely fine. So, Bart, I gotta ask you a question. Tribes Ascend, whose idea was this?
Whose idea was Tribes Ascend?
Yeah.
Tribes Ascend. So I'll take you a little bit through the history there. We made a game called Global Agenda in the early 2000s. My company Hi-Rez, and one of the big influences on that game was Tribes. And so when we were evaluating making a new title after Global Agenda had gone into maintenance, we were starting to start up another title. One of the things that kept getting thrown around was Tribes. Our art director Sean and our lead programmer Mick both were kind of pushing for it. They both were kind of PC gamer vets, big into Quake and Tribes in the day, and they were like, well, hey, we would love to work on this IP. At the time, Tribes was owned by Instant Action, which made a game called Legions of a Fallen Empire.
Okay. Wow, how did Instant Access get the Tribes license?
They bought it because they were going to they cloned it for Legions.
Okay.
And then that game did not do great, I think, and they gave it to their community. They licensed it to the community, and that's what Legions Overdrive is, which is a couple of our players actually were very involved in that. Bug Spray and Mabel in particular, and AP Sizzle was their community manager. So a lot of those guys actually Team Deadstop, who is arguably the top team in the world, certainly in America, is made up almost entirely of players of Legions, but I digress. The Instant Action was planning on making Star Siege Tribes, a.k.a. Tribes 1, into a browser game.
Yeah.
And so they were working on that, and then they decided they needed to offload the IP, and we bought it about 15 months ago, and we've been working on Tribes ever since then.
I got to admit, this is Tribes.
Yeah, man.
This is very much Tribes. So it seems to be very much influenced by the original Tribes with the patches, with the community patches that is holding down space to continually ski, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely. I mean, yeah, I think you're referring to that autoski.cs script from
yes,
Tribes
autoski. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. I mean that was so. I mean even Tribes 2 integrated hold down spacebar as a feature. I think it's just it makes, although it does remove some small iota of skill cap from the game when Tribes 1 style. Tribes 2 had it a little bit different than we do. Tribes 2 was the kind of you were still basically jumping every time you hit the ground when you skied in that game. They had a little bit more tolerance, I think, than Tribes 1 did even with auto ski. And then moving into Vengeance, they made it more how we have it, which is often referred to as kind of the ice skating method.
It's a bit ice skatey-ish, not gonna lie, but it's not terrible. So it just as a Tribes 1 player, it definitely takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yes, yes, it is different than the T1 system. Also, another thing about T1 skiing that's different from Ascend and Vengeance and 2 even was that in Tribes 1, if you recall, you actually had it felt like you had gravity boots. Like when you crested a hill in Tribes 1, you really stuck to the top of that hill.
Yes.
Over the top of it, which is part of the reason why Tribes 1 is often kind of jeered as a game in which you had to be like pixel perfect lined up with the flag from a mile out, because it was so hard to change anything. Because like basically once you were locked in and above a certain speed, there was no changing that.
Yeah, you were going to go straight, and then you were going to go off the map.
That's right.
Yeah, I completely remember that. You guys just released Rain Dance, huh?
Yes, that's right. Rain Dance is in this patch.
Yeah, Rain Dance is man, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, dude, I was so excited to. I mean, we were kind of talking around, porting some maps, this kind of stuff. What do we want to do? We started out with arena maps. We did Walden. We did Air Arena, which was a Tribes 2 map. Lava Arena is a new map to us. But so we started porting some arena maps, and then they started really looking at Rain Dance. Our level designers, Kate and Kevin, really got buckled down and figured out really the best way to get that kind of that stuff. And by stuff, I mean height maps, basically.
Yeah.
Out of the old engines and into Unreal in a meaningful way.
That had to be a project. Oh, man.
It's one of those things where it's like you get it 85% of the way in the first hour.
Yeah.
And then that last 15% is like a week.
Well,
to get it like really nice and
perfect, yeah.
Well, to the point that it's really usable and makes sense for our game. It's kind of like you import it and then you start adjusting these values, these kind of like min and max height of the hills, and you start setting it in those bounds and then start porting it in, seeing how it looks, feeling it out, and I think they kind of found that golden ratio for Tribes Ascend. So I would expect to see some more ports coming in the future, as well as more original maps from us. So a lot of things to come.
Ooh, any chance we'll see Broadside?
Crossfire kind of is Broadside. That's like our spiritual successor to that map.
That's true.
So unlikely that we would go that, but I would say that to look for things probably like Dangerous Crossing and Canyon Crusade Deluxe.
Canyon Crusade would be nice. That would be very nice.
Those kind of maps. Yeah. Maybe I personally would like to see things like Roller Coaster.
Oh, it's been a long time since I played Roller Coaster. Wow.
Yeah, I mean I'm a T1 guy before a T2 guy, yeah. But yeah, I mean I would personally my personal top 4 are DX, CCD, or I guess Dangerous Crossing, Canyon Crusade, Stonehenge, and Roller Coaster would be the ones I would love to see the most.
Stonehenge, I would love to see that one, absolutely. Still want to see more unique maps. I still want to see your own original maps, too, because the maps you guys made fit this flow really well with this game.
Yeah, I think, a great example of that is the latest one, Sunstar. It's really a neat map, I think. I mean, it's very, very fast. It's, it's a little different than, some of the earlier maps and later maps. It's got that, big gap in it and everything. I mean, it's just an interesting map. It plays... I think it's a lot of fun to play on. I haven't seen a lot of competitive games played on it as I am kind of the esports guru for Tribes. So I like to kind of frame everything around that because my opinions often are a little bit left of center when it comes to kind of...
Well, you're focused more on the competitive esports side.
Exactly. So with Sunstar, I think I would really love to see it play out more. But right now, I'm pretty... I have high hopes for that being a very fun map. Obviously, sniping is very strong on it, so we'll see. There's a lot of things. There's I actually just posted about an hour ago some stuff about kind of where we are basically my next steps after now. Basically, Tribes is launched, and now it's a matter of, okay, guys, I'm working with the community on our forums and on IRC and everything to nail down what the kind of a unified competitive rule set would look like. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of a whole list of those server flags and basically trying to make it accommodating of higher skill play and an equal playing field and everything, as well as incentivizing, different things over pub play, where pub play is more focused on, I guess, kill streaks in a way.
I think pub play is more focused on right now. It's more focused on building XP. I think
that's right. It's most focused on having a lot of fun while playing the game.
Yeah.
That being said, for competitive play, there's some small tweaks and there's some big tweaks. Small things like like strike prices and number of strikes you can have, to bigger things like disabling orbitals, if necessary. So,
have you guys noticed? I'm just curious if you've noticed, during real competitive play, not just pub play, the orbital strikes and things like that making that huge of a difference. I'd imagine it'd be more for example, a competitive CTF. I'd imagine it'd be more everyone's Pathfinder and run for the flag.
The issues that you see with orbitals and tacticals, there's a couple. Just to kind of briefly touch on it is one of the issues is that it makes your defense a vital part of your offense because they can call in those strikes and clear the flag stands. It also makes it very, very difficult to be on a flag stand if it's not covered, as strikes will one-shot you. And last thing is it makes it really, really tough to have a flag standoff, and when there's orbitals coming in on where you're holding. So, like, you set up your inventory station and your turrets and your motion sensors, and you got all your guys there, and then all of a sudden there's an orbital strike.
Orbital strike, game over, yeah.
The teams kind of had gentleman rules not to use them, and so, we're kind of going through all the iterations of what everything can be, and right now have landed on one in which, that you can see that list in the competitive esports forums. It's not insanely different. One of the biggest concerns of mine is making sure that the transition from, being an enthusiast to wanting to play competitively is pretty flat, so that you're not, you're not getting into a whole new game in which, you disc jump twice as high in competitive play because, that's what the old grumpy vets want, basically.
And back
How much of a difference do the perks make for competitive?
The only stuff that people are really contentious about, and that's kind of died off, has been super heavy in reach. But in a way, they are kind of diametric. So I personally am okay with it unless we start seeing some very highly abusive things. The other thing is potential energy in raiders. Some people have concerns about, specifically for arena. And what I'm referring to there is that potential energy is a perk in which knockback explosive damage you take is converted to energy.
Yeah.
And so in combination with a shield pack, it can be very, very strong, especially with someone who is very good micro. However, that also is one of those things that I'm perfectly happy to see play out. I'm not kind of jumping on, but there are some other things that I think that naked spawning and stuff is something that we'll be looking at, and all that fun stuff for competitive play, but. We have just, literally hot off the presses now, ESL just announced that they're going to be bringing Tribes Ascend to Versus.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. ESL's got Tribes Ascend now, so you got to be really happy about that, Bart.
Stoked, man. Definitely.
Well, when are we going to see the first real ESL competitive play?
We'll see with them. I mean, we're kind of working our way in through the Versus, which is their kind of game agnostic matchmaker. And then, obviously we also have the Season 3 with NASL stuff that you'll start seeing news about that coming up in the next couple weeks as well. So
sweet.
As well as, there'll be smaller tournaments happening very, very soon. So there'll be a lot of opportunities to make your nut playing Tribes here coming up soon.
So, let's talk a little bit about the community building. You guys did something interesting with the friends list that I don't see a lot of games doing, and I really, really hope Steam picks up on this, especially for a guy like me. I mean, right now we have like 300 some odd people in the chat room and however many people watching us. It becomes a pain in the ass to manage my friends list. You could just follow people, and I don't have to add them back. I just wanted to personally thank you for that, Bart, because goddamn, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things where it was like, I don't know. At first, when we were kind of talking about doing that, I was pretty skeptical of what is essentially a Twitter model.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, at the end of the day, though, what you said is very valid. Like, the whole handshake thing is really not needed. Like, as long as you can opt out of having people follow you, like if someone's griefing, you can say, this person no longer sees when I'm online. Great.
Yeah, I can block him, yeah.
I can block that guy. Easy. Okay, well, as long as that's the case, I think it actually is a better system in which you can be friends with many people you want to be friends with, and you can see all the people that are friends with you, and they can have as many people. So, they can be like, yeah, I see every time Total Biscuit comes online, and they can feel awesome and try to hunt him down.
Well, yeah, because that way I can have everyone in the LordKaT Mafia follow me, and they can see when I'm online, they can jump into the server with me, and we can completely and utterly grief anyone else on the server because we're just not on the same skill level that they are. But
Hive mind.
It's better than having that weird, 237 some odd limit on Steam where it's like, okay, well, I can only have certain people following me, and only you guys can get to the game. That's very weird.
It's also one of those things where, like, with Steam, like, personally, sometimes you're like, I want to play with this, this guy's awesome. He tweeted at me and said, let's go play whatever, Plants vs. Zombies or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, great, but I don't necessarily want this guy to be my Steam friend forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to necessarily have to remove him. So I think it's really a neat system.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want that reminder every time he pops online in the upper left corner, So
yes, definitely.
With that name, ah ha ha ha, I ruined your game. I've had that happen. I was streaming.
Is that Sable again? Oh, God damn it, Sable. I'm going to kill you. Son of a bitch. So, so you guys are previewing custom servers right now.
That's right.
Are you all right? So with custom servers, we rent through Hi-Rez. Do you guys
Yes.
do you guys have a pricing model for that yet?
No.
Okay.
Do not. That is not. That was probably something that details are coming out about. I think next patch. I think.
Okay.
Don't hold me to that one. My guess is that we will be very competitive. So, it will probably be less to rent a 32-person server through us than it would be through a traditional model where you're paying by seat.
Okay. Then, which is cool. As long as you're competitive, I'm happy with that. How about something that made the original tribes pretty popular? Will you guys be supporting mods on the custom servers?
Right now, we are looking at basically making the server flag options that you have very, very robust. I don't know if you've looked at any of the custom servers. There's some really kind of wacko game types that are going on in there. Starting with that, I know that it's not off the table in terms of SDK for us, but it is in the free-to-play model. It is not necessarily something that is the best business choice.
Right.
But it is something that we see a lot of value in terms of community. So the answer is maybe on that one.
All right. Well, still looking at it. That's cool. Well, cast my vote for definitely an SDK. How about well, Mr. Crow in the chat room has a question for you. Are there plans for an in-game voice chat?
No, they're not right now. Here's why. With Global Agenda, our first game, we had VoIP, and everyone just used Mumble. So we were like, okay, well, let's not necessarily do that again. And especially in tribes where you have the VGS, the chat command system, basically, it makes it you don't necessarily need it. And at the end of the day, I really would rather just hear someone saying Shazbot than hear a 14-year-old yelling at me to defend the generator. So
fair enough.
that is being gib, but glib is what I was trying to say there. But I think that there is value in VoIP. I just don't think that it is hugely valuable for tribes because there already is that chat command system. And
I think it's better. I think VoIP is better when it's not with strangers. To be honest with you,
that's right.
Like, it's got to be with your friends.
Massive proliferation of VoIP now to just users. Like everyone has, I bet you everyone that's on this stream probably has minimum 2 VoIP pieces of software. Like myself, I have like 6.
I think every software has it now.
Like every
it's like
even my browser.
Yeah, that's right.
Talk to Google Chrome, be like, find this for me, and it will type out, find this for me. It's kind of funny.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so it's crazy what's out there. I mean, but like the big ones, like I think most people in the world have Skype now. So it's like at the very least you can use Skype or Mumble or Vent or whatever. Hell, you can go back and use Roger Wilco for all I care. But
wow,
so
we're going back.
How old are you?
Me, I'm 24.
Oh,
Right.
What? You don't look 24.
Yeah, you don't look 24. I thought you were like almost 40, dude. It's all that alcohol,
Yeah,
he's
it's
younger
the
than
hard
me.
living. It's the hard life of esports.
Advanced aging.
I'm joking, man. So I've got to ask this question because I don't know if you can answer it, but myself and Har spoke about it, and Har's in the chat, by the way. He's one of the Twitch TV admins. I'm sure you met him at PAX.
Dinner and PAX.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
And I have to ask you this: Global Agenda. You guys stopped making content for it, so I stopped playing. What happened?
The focus is currently on tribes. I mean, we're not done with Global Agenda or not supporting it anymore. We actually.
Well, I had to explain when he says it ran out of content. Like we liked the questing system a lot. Like it's kind of weird of us to like it, but it seems Global Agenda was more focused on doing the dungeons over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and then doing PvP over and over and over and over and over again. And it was kind of wasn't what we liked about it. Like we liked the whole level up system and like the.
It was kind of like a free version of Borderlands almost, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of going back to what we were talking about there with tribes being a big influence. I mean, in that game, it's pretty easy to be like, okay, yep, TF2, Borderlands, and tribes. Kind of, let's wrap those up and make a sweet game out of it. It was kind of like in a nutshell the development process, and then there was lots of work on the mechanics and the engine and everything to make that game happen. But yeah, I mean, I think that as you saw that second open zone, the northern zone, kind of ends at a cliffhanger where you're trying to take the scientists to the nodes. So I would say that Global Agenda is not necessarily completely gone forever.
I'm getting yelled at in the chat room because as I'm talking to you, I'm playing CTF as a brute and llamaing the flag. because
I was gonna mention that. Didn't know if you saw that or not.
just
Quit
kind of
being
doing that on purpose to get under some people's skin. That's all right.
Just
all
to
you
confirm
gotta
though, when you said that global agenda isn't done, do you mean that you might like expand on the MMO half of the game, where you can progress farther into the game without having to touch PvP or dungeons too much, and do like a leveling kind of system? Because that's kind of cool. Like I know you can jump into PvP and level up pretty fast, or you can do dungeons and level up pretty fast, but it does kind of get like if it's not what you're as interested in, it kind of like makes you feel a little bit alienated. So it'd be cool if you could just do that more. But it's what we like to do together. We were questing together, and then we were like, well, the game just ended, so let's just our only option is to do dungeons. What's this?
Right. I don't know the specifics around the future of Global Agenda, to be honest with you, because I was actually working on Global Agenda when I first came to the studio. My background's in analytics, and I was actually doing the pricing for the cash shop when it was first introduced. So yeah, I'm the evil side of free to play, I guess. But so I don't know, but I was taking off that project to work on esports for tribes pretty early on before I really got my hands deep into it. But I do know that there is some things that we are looking at and evaluating currently that that will be very familiar to you. So.
Sweet. So you work on the esports side specifically of tribes.
Yes, sir.
When are you guys going to be? I'm sorry, I'm staring at the game, and I shouldn't be asking questions while I'm staring at the game. It's very distracting. Are you guys specifically going to be dealing with esports, or are you just like a liaison between MLG and the like?
How do you mean? Like, are we?
Are you going to be running
tournaments
and stuff like that? Yeah, it's Hi-Rez Studios going to be running tournaments.
Specifically, like this is the Hi-Rez Cup 4. No, but in terms of providing pricing to
Prizes.
Yeah, prizing, yes. So we'll be
license out the tournaments. Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll be well, both probably, but I mean, we have so many partners that want to like do awesome stuff with us.
Yeah.
That there's no reason for me right now to be like, this is the Hi-Rez Studios tournament. It can be whoever, right? I mean, I'm looking at my Skype right now, and there's a bunch of people there that all want to do a tribes tournament. So
yeah, absolutely.
Like I was saying, I mean, we're going to be, just like as you saw ESL, right? Like, it's just as viable, I think, for me to say, okay, well, let's give $11 to ESL to run a tournament versus let's run our own $11 tournament. So
fair enough. The tribes tournament. So what about doing something like specifically for individual communities that aren't qualified to compete in the ESL? Because let's be honest, our community is as fun and as derpy as we are. We're not.
Pro.
None of us are gonna beat the pros.
Right. So, they'll be kind of moving through tribes. There is a plan to have a matchmaking feature in the game. Mm-hmm. That is probably a little ways off. But in terms of kind of like, I know that a lot of our community sites, so specifically spinfuser.org and TribesCast and those guys are, and GameShrine.org and Bita.com down in Australia, those kind of sites will be likely running kind of, bronze, silver, and gold leagues, so to speak. I know that that's kind of a lot of the people that I've been talking to that want to start out with a launch tournament want to get quickly into a position where they have kind of lower skill level places for people to play in an organized manner, but not necessarily super hardcore for the big bucks. And that's something that I'm really interested in, is like I was saying, it kind of goes back to that whole kind of flattening out that transition from enthusiast into competitive player. And ESL in particular happens to be an extremely adept partner of that kind of thing, because they start out in that versus scenario in which it is, basically a game agnostic matchmaker, and it lets you, matchmake a game in tribes, and then you can go all the way through IEM with them. So they have a very clear path to becoming a professional player.
Horror, I think you have a question you want to ask Bart.
Do I?
I have a question.
You got a question, LT? All right.
Yeah, what do I have to do to get a Tribes pen?
Tribes pen?
I want some memorabilia. Where do I go?
Oh, you want swag?
I want a pen, specifically a pen.
Like
a pen for Tribes Ascend?
Yeah, writing. Like a fancy one.
Do
they make those?
We have pins, like for your shirt, but I don't know if I have a fancy pen.
What the fuck? I opened up the question to the floor, and you're like, I want a pen!
Where do I go to get a pen?
The fuck, LPU?
I have a better question.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Thank God.
You don't seem to have a standard freemium model where like there's some sort of advanced thing. Like I guess the biggest comparison, TF2, your freemium model is you can wear hats, which sounds silly, but it works somehow. Your freemium model is more of like a pay to advance faster model. I guess that's the way you would. I think in the thing you I forget exactly how you said it, but do you have any plans to add things that you can only access through paying that are just vanity, like shiny armor that you can only get if you pay?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Right now, that stuff actually is already in the game.
There's things you can only, because when I noticed that everything I could buy with money, I could also buy with experience. I didn't see there was anything that was only cash.
There is 2 skins for the Infiltrator kit that are cash only.
Oh,
But yeah, it's all cosmetic.
you're all gonna. It's gonna focus on skins. You can do skins for guns or just players, or like what are the extent do you plan on doing it on?
It will be players first, skins potentially for guns later. Anything that kind of changes, like we wouldn't necessarily. There's not a high likelihood that we would do something like make your discs pink, server side. Like there may be some stuff that you can buy that's cheaper that only you see. So like if you really want to shoot butterflies instead of discs, well, great. But that kind of changes the experience for other players. Now looking like a Doom guy instead of looking like a cyborg guy is a little bit different, because you still have a big red arrow over your head that means bad guy.
Yeah.
But changing what a disc looks like coming out of a gun, probably not. But maybe changing the way the disc launcher looks in your hands, potentially yes.
That's pretty neat. That would be one thing I would support.
I have a better question than last time. It's better than Pens. It's Frisbee's. No. What are your plans? Like you say, you're the coordinator for online related gaming. How are you going to handle like balancing issues? As in, like, say there's a professional player who doesn't have an account that he's been playing on for a long time, but you got this other guy who's playing since right now until he's got like this maxed out character. Are you going to have like some way to balance the teams, or is he going to have to?
So there's kind of 2 questions there, or I've approached that question with 2 answers. The first one is in LAN play and in kind of tournament play, accounts will be provided that are maxed out. So that's one piece off the table. For kind of just like impromptu, semi-official online play, or even official online play, basically when you look at, if you play the game competitively, you will clearly have everything you need. Like just looking at strictly at the numbers, like the thing about competitive tribes is that most players play a role. Like you have your cappers, and you have your sniper, and you have your defense, and you have your offense. And sure, maybe the offensive guy needs to switch between Juggernaut, Raider, and Pathfinder.
Right.
But it is actually pretty easy to get all that stuff unlocked. We haven't had that issue yet where someone's been like, I can't play with anything. Like I don't have this yet, so I can't play that role. I mean, there's people all the time. I mean, there's people that I was whitelisting back when we were on kind of that whole whitelist thing to get people involved in competitive play that were free accounts that were playing, on the top teams. So you don't really need to pay anything, and you don't really need all that much crazy playtime to get everything you need to play a role. Now, granted, if you are like on a mid-range, mid-level team, and they for some reason think that they need someone that plays all roles, and you may need to figure out a way to have everything unlocked. But the end of the day, it's not so much about that kind of thing. Like you really are playing one role, and if you play just capper, well, you're going to have your Pathfinder maxed out, and that's all you're going to worry about forever. And then
even so, when you're practicing just to get good at the game, I'm pretty sure you'll get all the experience you'll need for all those characters. In
any case, it's just really a minority problem with the whole online semi-competitive play. But as for LANs, with the whole maxed out account thing, that makes a lot more sense.
There's one good side effect to it all. Like if you don't have all the guns unlocked and you need to play more to unlock them, it'll give you time to get used to your current guns, so you learn how to use them better, and you don't just have all these guns you need to learn all at once.
That's right. So, I mean, you have a couple things in there, right? I mean, it's like realistically, like you shouldn't be trying to play a game competitively without 30 hours into it minimum. And at 30 hours, you have, even on a free account with nothing paid into the game, you have enough to fully unlock whatever class that you want to compete with. So or better yet, you really have enough to get 2 classes, all the devices you want. So it shouldn't be a big issue.
Yeah.
You mentioned LAN play earlier. Tribes Ascend supports LAN play?
No, I mean local server at a LAN event. But
okay. Yeah.
It is completely online, authenticated, and all that. So
Well,
So,
when you
I
host
mean, it's gonna
tournaments,
be
you're not playing with StarCraft, are you? Because I know StarCraft does no LAN, and when they try to do tournaments, people lag out, which is ridiculous. Are you gonna...
Right.
They had to bring in another satellite truck.
No, we'll be like we've so at PAX we actually had a server that was there that was sitting underneath the tables. So it was a local, it was a LAN technically. There was no ping,
Right.
Good.
but we brought a physical server there. So
you guys will you guys be supporting LAN parties, or is that something not on the table for you?
There's a couple things we can do around that, but it is LAN, like true LAN, like go over to your friend's house and sit in the basement and LAN Tribes Ascend is probably unlikely. In the short term, definitely.
As long as you have tournaments, that's the most important thing, though.
I mean,
The
two
game
people in a
is free to
basement.
play, right?
That's right.
And also, LAN play would really just take away from the whole getting experience.
That's right.
So I guess I can see why you wouldn't
No,
want to
I
have
completely get
LAN
that. I
only.
was just asking. I mean, I completely
Oh
understand.
no,
that.
I mean I was gonna ask about the LAN play too, but I'm like, well, of course it has some sort of LAN play because they're doing tournaments. But I was like, wait, no, Blizzard did the same thing, as Horror pointed out.
Well,
They removed it.
well, I was more referring to like say LAN parties, like 50 some odd people getting together at a party. Would Hi-Rez support that, or would they? Is that something they would specifically not be interested in?
I don't think that we are specifically not interested in it. I think that it is
Just,
a pretty. It's just like, I mean, you guys have brought up a couple kind of counterpoints to it already, and just like it's a thing that we would really have to think about how to implement, in a very very serious way, and it would also take probably quite a bit of work. So it would be if it does happen, it'll be much later down the line.
Yeah.
But for most things, I can say that on a long enough timeline, there's a very very high, almost 100% chance of it happening. This one, I just don't know what our plans are as a company on that.
That's fair enough.
Were you planning on a LAN party thing at a meetup, LordKaT? Is that what's going on here?
I may have been hinting at that more or less, but I mean, if we need an internet connection for it, we need an internet connection for it. What am I going to do?
You would need an internet connection for it, but we could do other things like set up we could set up a cloud server like basically next to you.
No, we could do that.
That kind of stuff, right? Like highly localized servers for LAN quote unquote parties is something that we can do and are interested in and want to support everyone with. But truly LAN environment is not highly likely in the short term.
No, I completely understand that. I get that. That's no big deal. Especially in this day and age with broadband and the like. So I'm going to open it up to the chat room for questions. For example, Mr. Crow said, are more classes and more stuff going to be added in the future?
Classes, probably not for a little while. We will be adding, however... So there was that Infiltrator bundle, which came out like a week before release, or 2 weeks before release, that included the Jackal, the throwing knives, and 2 skins. There will be more of those coming, so all of the classes will get, their lovin' on new cool things for them. And then our kind of vision for the future is there'll be more and more weapons and side grades and packs and things coming out for classes. Now, once that system gets bloated, that's when we'll probably start evaluating new classes, but for now we'll be sticking with the 9.
Here's an interesting one, and I'm actually going to turn this question differently. He's asking about your QA process as an internal reviewer or publisher, but I'm actually not that interested.
We don't have a publisher.
Yeah, I don't. I was going to say, I was like, well, that's silly. But I'm actually interested in how do you test for game balance internally in terms of public play and in terms of competitive play?
Well, public play versus competitive play is interesting. So internally, we test, all the development staff as well as our QA. We all will test stuff internally, kind of feel, it's a subjective test. Like, does this feel bad? Or does it feel great? Is it a lot of fun? Mm-hmm. Competitive testing is much harder to do because we don't really play the game at that level. I mean, I'm pretty good at the game, and there's other people in, if you guys saw at PAX, I mean, Kevin's very good, and Joe's very good. And we have players that are able to compete.
Yeah,
but
Kevin, by the way, whipped my ass in this game.
Kevin's a beast. The thing is that
LordKaT to the floor and you beat him at Tribes.
is that when you look at it, is that you're looking at a basically a situation in which you have a lot of big game enthusiasts, and we make the game and we are immersed in it, but and we could compete, but we don't have the time to practice and get the coordination. So I jump in the pickup groups of the top level players and get stomped around every once in a while. It's all good fun. But the testing process basically goes, we are so agile in terms of our development that we basically test things, get them to a point where we think that it's good to release them as a test, and then we have, a very high volume of players playing the game every day. So we know like immediately if when like the Jackal, for instance, was hot fixed the next day because it was, we saw in the numbers as well as, suspicions when we released it that there was going to be some issues with it. So, and then right away we saw it and fixed it right away. So that's kind of our philosophy process on that, is more along like, okay, let's get it to a point where, it's performing, it's filling the role we want it to fill. Let's see how it performs in live, and then let's, take it from there.
Will you ever be adding skins for Children of the Phoenix and the Star Wolf?
Yes.
Excellent.
Just to mention, I just bought the assassin, like the whole pack thing with the the 2 skins you get, and the assassin one looks fucking awesome.
I doubt you guys are going to add destructible environments, but is that on the plate for you guys at all?
Destructible environments, no, but destructible base assets.
Yes.
Like, for instance, right now the inventory stations you cannot destroy it, and that is not necessarily out of the realm of possibilities. Destructible environments, probably not. The game just isn't that game.
I can attest to that firsthand. Tribes was never destructible environments. It was destructible inventory stations though, so they could piss off the other team.
That's right, and actually, Earthsiege had destructible mechs.
Yes.
Pieces would fall off. So it's not necessarily completely non-Star Siege universe, but it is not Tribes. That's for damn sure.
Well, Tribes is never about destructible environments, so whatever. How about demos, replays, recorders, that sort of thing? Is that ever making its debut?
That's one of those on a long enough timeline, yes. That is a same thing with first-person spectator. Both of those things are something that we are very interested in doing and working on. But, first-person spectator, I think, is higher priority right now than demos. I'd have to go look at kind of like yield grand scheme of development, but demoing system is tricky because demos, your maps cannot change.
Yeah.
Because of the way it works. So once we get to a point where our maps are, where enough of them are to the point where we're going to say, okay, these are done. We will not iterate on these again. At least for a long time, we'll probably be looking to develop that as well.
How about a save match to movie? Like, for example, if a match happened, and you could during the intermission, you could ask do you want to save this match to a movie, and then it would sort of replay it in the background and do that, so you don't have the map problem.
I don't know really. I can't. It's hard for me to answer that question because I don't understand. It's just really the technology that well that goes into that, just to give you a timeline or any kind of.
No, fair enough.
But there are some cool things that we are looking at around, facilitating streaming and demoing and more competitive play and VODing and all that stuff. So stay tuned on that one, I think.
I'm getting asked about what maps are coming in the future, but I don't want any spoilers or anything. What I will ask you though is, will we see the potential for community maps in the future?
That's kind of also in that SDK side of things. Okay. I think that I don't know. I really don't know is the answer to that question. It's still kind of up in the air as to what exactly we're going to do around customization. So. Okay.
Cool. Will there be gender options in the future like there was for StarCraft, for Tribes 1 StarCraft?
Yep, but that stuff comes after Bioderms and other tribes.
Cool.
Because
so that's on the list.
Here's the thing. The minute you have female skins, every time you want to release a skin in the future, you have to have 2 of them.
Yeah.
So it is going to be one of the last things probably that comes in terms of cosmetics.
League Stock Arena has an interesting one. I don't know if it's something you can answer, but has the free-to-play model been liberating as a developer, or have there been more pitfalls and versus benefits for the free-to-play?
It's interesting.
It's a tough question.
It's, really that question is directed at strictly the development team, which I am not necessarily. I am not a developer, right? My background, I have a business degree, so it's not like I'm here in the stacks writing code and then on my off time, doing some esports here and there. But to be honest with you, it was for me personally an emotional roller coaster, because like I said, I'm a huge Tribes 1 nerd, and Tribes 2 and basically the whole series. Tribes 1's like my favorite game ever. So. When I started working at the company, they're like, and it's going to be free to play, and I was like, no, what, the world's ending, and then, and then I started seeing it iterate, we started seeing things come out, and, it was ultimately, I think, was pushed us in some directions that we may not have gone, that I think have benefited the game. it definitely makes it, and really the best thing about it for me personally, as kind of a player advocate, esports kind of manager, and I bleed over a lot into community management as well, is like free to play means to the player, to our end user, that we're not going to yank support on the game.
Yeah.
Because we make our money by releasing new stuff and having you guys love it and buy it. So we will continue to support the game as long as there's people playing it, which is an awesome, awesome thing as a consumer. I mean, I'm only a year out of working for I was a consultant. So like, I was just an enthusiast a year ago, and now I'm here, and it's like, it's just awesome to work in that situation, which I can like really say like, yeah, we're gonna, especially in the Tribes title, I mean, God forbid, to say like, look, we're not gonna yank support on this because we don't have a publisher right behind us saying, oh, well, you didn't meet quota this month. That means.
So we have to cut staff and all that. Yeah, okay.
Right. That's what happened to the other games.
That's what happens to a lot of other games. So I mean, I think the free to play model's good. It took a little bit of getting used to, especially being the soldier and not having the spin fuser. It took a little bit of time for me to get over, but I'm over it now, so whatever. Especially considering you gave out spin fuses for free on joystick, so hey, now I don't care.
That's right. Yeah, we've given out a few of those. So.
Let's see here. Anything else from the chat room? What was most important to you guys? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you, Bart. Not of all of Hi-Rez, but for Bart. What was most important to you for capturing the feel of Tribes 1, or of the original Tribes, or the experience of Tribes? What was the most important aspect of that?
Personally, that's tough. For me, it was I wanted to make sure that what I was really invested in was heavy offense. I wanted heavy offense to be viable. Mm-hmm. I also really wanted the feeling of using the terrain to redirect you that was really most prevalent probably in Tribes 2 to be a big factor. So hitting a bowl, that lets you come out at a different angle in the skiing instead of kind of the more Tribes 1 style, even though that's really my favorite game, but it was a little bit more based on kind of where you were landing and using it to redirect you based on the normal of the surface. Whereas Tribes 2 is a little bit more like you ski through this like kind of curvature, which pushes you out in a different direction. I think that's the feel that I was looking for. One of the things that we did is we have a lot more air control in our game than the other titles. They're more directional jetting oriented. So it was kind of that feel. I wanted that feel emulated in our game of using terrain and directional jetting to redirect you. And I think that that was something that did come through. And I personally really like it.
Can you give any numbers on the overall size of the player base since you've released? Like in terms of, not in terms of direct numbers. Let's say like how big is it compared to say?
It's bigger than Tribes 2 ever was.
Bigger than Tribes 2 ever was. Okay.
Yeah.
Already, that's impressive.
Tribes 2 retailed like 500,000 copies, and we passed that before we released.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So there is a demand there for this old school style of FPS.
Yeah, which is very, very awesome to see, of course. Not only does it mean I get to work for another day, it also means that, no, in all seriousness though, but I mean, it is really cool. I've said this a few times, but one of like the coolest things about being, just uniquely in my position, which is, being a huge fan, getting to work for this company in a completely unrelated field, eventually making my way into esports and getting to really work with Tribes, is that like 3 years ago, I was, going and hanging out with my friends and being like, hey guys, we should play Tribes. And they're like, huh? I'm like, no, seriously, like we can all do Tribes 1 will be a great time. They're, they're like, what are you talking about?
I did the same thing with my chat room. It didn't work too well.
And now it's like I got, 500,000 people to go nerd it up about Tribes with. And, be like, no, I really think the LAR is better than the shotgun. And they can be like, no, I don't think so. Because this and this and this. It's like that to me is like manly tears.
Did you get a chance to see anything in the game that was cut due to whatever reason that you kind of shed a tear over?
Really, really early pre-alpha. Heavies could go like 500 kilometers an hour.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Which was just like, I mean, it was miserable. Like you couldn't do anything to stop it. It was basically like a heavy got your flag out and it was like GG. But oh man, there's just something wonderful about heavy capping.
Heavy capping is fun, except I can't do it because everyone just blows me up.
Yeah, it takes some.
It takes some.
It definitely takes a very unique route to get it done. Back cap grav cycle dry dock with a brute is doable.
Ooh, might have to try that. Let's see here. I think the community wants you to get into the game, but I don't think you have time for that.
Me, no, I actually have to run here in about 5 minutes at 6:30 if you guys don't mind.
No, that's all right. No, I mean I appreciate the time. Har, did you actually seriously want to ask him for
My name to be changed to
yes,
Har?
did you seriously want to ask him to change your name?
I'm fine with my name for now. I had Blizzard do it once, and I felt like a total badass. And they're like, "Yeah, you're popular enough to get your name changed to Har." I'm like, "Yeah, Twitch TV is the shit."
Oh my god. Yeah, Bart, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it, man. It's been absolutely amazing watching Tribes Ascend sort of grow and change from open beta to where it is now.
Oh yeah, man, you're telling me.
Especially since open beta, I can actually now spawn instead of just sort of staring at a screen because it didn't want to, you know, let me spawn. Here's a question: have you guys? I don't know if this may be getting too personal, but have you guys had any contact with the Firefall staff at all?
Talking about Youngblood?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we talked to him at trade shows.
How does he feel like about you guys sort of doing what he was doing?
Last time that those guys really sat down and played Tribes Ascend, they came away, you know, really positive and supportive.
Cool.
So it was, dude. I mean, that was really great getting to meet the guy that made my favorite game. Specifically, just for your viewers, we're talking about Scott Youngblood, who was a lead designer on Tribes 1 and Tribes 2. I think Vengeance even. I think he was a part of. It was fun listening to him kind of talk about, you know, retrospect on the games, and, you know, talk about like Vengeance was like, everyone was like, give us single player. We just want some sweet Tribe single player, and then they did that, and everyone was like, why didn't you make this a multiplayer game? So you know, it was interesting hearing his insight, and kind of, you know, it's always fun to go back and theory craft about what Tribes would have been had skiing never been a feature.
So
A glitch, yeah.
So that's really cool. But yeah, I mean, the guys are at Red 5. I mean, I think that Firefall, I played Global Agenda, and their game looks like it's going to be, you know, kind of the next step of Global Agenda. And like you guys said, you played it as well. But, you know, it is very similar kind of at face value, but I think that they've done a really great job with Firefall.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair with Firefall, I've played demos at PAX, so that's all I played.
Yeah. I mean, I have the beta, and I played demos at PAX and everything, and you know, it. To me, I think it's a very fun game. So, you know, like I said, best of luck to those guys, and, you know, all the luck in the world to them, because I know that they do, however, have a publisher that they are dealing with, and I don't know what that is like. So
that's I imagine I've seen Firefall. It's changed over the years. It's gone from the way they described it to me was it was going to be the creator's true vision for Tribes, and now it's gone to. Seems like a mixture between Borderlands and Firefly, and it looks intriguing.
Yeah, that's kind of my experience with it as well. It kind of started as they were at one point pushing it like really hard as like this is going to be a competitive title, and then Fragdolls all involved,
and it changed.
And now they've kind of backed off that, and they've gone more into the MMO side of it. So
we'll see how it goes. I'm interested in seeing where they take it, because it's certainly a lot different from Tribes Ascend, which playing right now, and my God, I'm having too much fun doing this.
What, playing Tribes?
No, I'm having way too much fun playing Tribes. Are you kidding me?
I suck real bad, and I'm still having fun.
I run into trees, and I still have fun.
Oh, have you guys seen the small Kiwi running into the arch gif? That's a favorite of the community. But yeah, so if you guys, you know, in terms of, you know, if you want to stay up to date kind of with the goings on with Tribes, I mean, there's you know, spinfuser.org is a big European hub for esports specifically. The guys over at Tribescast on Twitch and tribescast.com are kind of the MOBAcast, Hancast style extension of Tribes, so they do a lot of the U.S. coverage. And one of the things I wanted to definitely touch on before I left was that this Sunday, we'll have we're having a community run. So this is something I was not involved in, but I have the privilege of promoting on tribescast.com or twitch.tv/tribescast. And I would love to get you guys to hop in and have some fun with us. They're doing a one-day tournament. So they've had a draft last weekend where there was like 250 people that entered, and they drafted them into teams, and they're doing a one-day tournament on Sunday. So you'll be able to, it'll all be casted and streamed by myself and Craig of Tribescast and Delirium and all of the Tribescast staff. as well as some of the organizers of the tournament, which are AP Sizzle and Blitz, are going to be doing that and bringing that to the people. So definitely tune in on Sunday, or you can follow me on Twitter at HiRezBart, of course, and I will happily tweet about all of the cool esports things and tribes things that are going on around the world. So if you want the real skinny, you can follow me on Twitter or any of our community sites. Keep you pretty up to date as well. And let's see, what else should I plug? Probably the twitch.tv/team/TA Pros is the kind of Twitch team channel for a lot of our streamers. So we need to get you added to that, LordKaT.
Absolutely. And you can find Tribes Ascend at tribesascend.com, can't you?
That's right. Yeah, you can go get it. And because they are your listeners and they're so awesome, you know what? I'm willing to give it to them for free.
That's so generous.
Hey, maybe they can get 250 gold for free by liking you on Facebook, huh?
They can. And I tell you what, I'll when we get off this call, I will throw you over some codes to give your listeners as well.
Oh, hell yeah, we'll definitely do that. Thank you very much, Bart. And thanks for joining us on this little chat here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'd love to do it again in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, Bart.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.